Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Drinks with Johnny. Here at the bar with my good friend, Vergil Ortiz Jr., fresh off of his victory Saturday night. 20-0, man, congratulations. It was amazing to watch. It was a little bittersweet, as we've talked about a little bit here, but it was just great to see you back in the ring, man.
Yeah, it felt great. Unfortunately, a lot of people left blue balled, but, what matters is after like a year and a half out, being inactive, it's good to be back in the ring.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, like we talked about, we already had breakfast today and everything like that, and we got to chatting a little bit, and I was up here at the bar getting ready to watch this amazing comeback, which it was. You look good, man. You're fighting at 154 now.
Yeah.
You were fighting at 147. We'll get into that year and a half off here in a second and really dive into that. But as a lot of you guys at home probably already know now, Vergil won in about 2.5 minutes, I think it was.
It was 2.5, yeah. Yeah,
with some stoppage time that was a little controversial, let's say,
Yeah.
Obviously, you caught him a few times, and he was beaten up in the corner. The ref made the decision to call it. And a lot of people will say it was a premature stoppage. I think the writing was on the wall. Either way you look at it looked like Vergil was about to handle the man anyway, in true fashion. But, well, why don't you speak to it a little bit, man?
Yeah, so, first of all, I felt really strong. This is the strongest I had felt in, any weight cut week in any camp. After a year and a half off, we were kind of worried about how I was going to look, how I was going to feel. But no, I was 110%, better than ever. And, just going into the ring, let's backtrack. Weighing week, fight week, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here, doing the press conferences. Usually I hate doing interviews, I hate talking to people I don't really have the energy to talk to. But, I had all the energy in the world and all that stuff. But when it came to 30 minutes before the fight, I was all business.
Yeah.
I really wasn't smiling or nothing. I was just like, this is for all the people talking shit online, saying that I'm undisciplined and all this. So, get into the ring, all business, and we just took care of business. I felt so strong where I wasn't really throwing punches hard, but they were hurting him.
Yeah.
And like you said, it only lasted like 2.5 minutes, and I would say around the 2-minute mark, I caught him with like a jab, stepping back. My momentum's going backwards, and I hurt him with the jab. It was already over.
Yeah.
Like I could feel it over. So I jump on him, I catch him with the body shot. 20 continuous punches, no response. He's on the ropes, ref stops it.
Yeah.
The ref's job in the boxing ring is to protect us fighters,
Absolutely.
From getting too hurt. We can be hurt, but if you're too hurt and you're not responding, then you know what I mean? That's his job. So, Yeah,
it's there for safety so people don't die in the ring, which has unfortunately happened, as everyone knows. But, you don't want to be on that side of it. You take the early stoppage in a moment like this as opposed to someone getting actually really devastatingly fucked up in the ring, right? You'd rather have that on your conscience, giving everyone blue balls rather than, killing somebody,
Exactly, yeah, so, I just, at the end of the day, it's a sport, it's a competition. I don't hate the other guy, so I want him to go back to his family, and I want to go back to mine.
Exactly. It's all about the competition, man. And like they were saying, I'm glad you brought up, you were still feeling it out. 2 minutes in, you're still feeling it out and causing damage while you're still feeling it out. Again, you're coming back after a year and a half since your last fight, maybe even a little bit more, because that one was in August of
22,
right? Yeah. I was watching that one when I was in Newcastle on my phone at a bar. I was watching that one. I was sick. But yeah, it was coming back from that. All the commentators they're talking, I'm watching, and everyone's talking about. It's he's probably going to take some time. He's not going to come swinging out the fence. Too mature, too smart. They're talking about you, of course, Vergil.
Yeah.
And which makes sense. You come out, and that's got to be hard. I was watching it and listening to the commentary and trying to put myself in your shoes, right? And I think I can in some small way. After being away, as you know, being in Avenged Sevenfold, we were away for 6 years in between shows. And although it's not the same, not going into a fucking combat, but, just that adrenaline, right? Coming back to something that you love, that you were put on this earth to do.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of emotions, a lot of adrenaline going. How hard was it for you to hold back a little bit and feel out the ring again and start to feel out an opponent rather than just coming out there and like hyped and just, I'm going to maul this motherfucker?
Man, it honestly wasn't even that hard.
Really?
Because, I spar a lot, and I was sparring, some good competition, some good up and comers, some old people that have a lot of experience. And so mentally I was ready. It's just the physically part. It's just like, maybe there might be a little bit of ring rust, who knows. But the first round is usually always the same. I try to feel them out first, And
is it now, as a layman, as just like a guy watching, if you a lot of box, I mean, most boxers that I see, or most boxing that I see, to your point, round one is feeling each other out, right?
Yeah.
You gotta. What's your game plan? What have you been working on? Right? Is that kind of mentality?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just seeing how you're gonna react, trying to get their their rhythm. Because there's a lot of rhythm that goes on. Some people can have different rhythms. I hate sparring MMA fighters because their rhythm is just like it's just completely different. It doesn't even make sense to me. So like. You just have to fill out the rhythm. You kind of have to like get on their wavelength or make them get onto yours.
Right.
So
is that a strategy to try to get them on your wavelength?
Yeah. I would say most of the battle would be that subconsciously. You don't even know it. You're not thinking it. You're just like trying to get them to fall for your traps.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense when you put it that way. It's interesting though, because as a layman, just a fan, like watching, I'm just like, you think like you watch enough boxing, all of us at home who are, into combat sports or sports in general, even if you never played the sport, you sit there and you do the armchair, commentating, and you're like, oh, he's doing this. You really don't fucking know. Like, I don't fucking know what's in Vergil's head when he's going in there, but you try to put yourself in those perspectives. So take me through this fight specifically, that first round before it gets called. Like, what were you feeling rhythmically? What were you feeling what was he giving you?
So at first, I could definitely feel that he was trying to kind of take control at first. He was throwing some jabs. He was throwing some okay jabs. I think we exchanged jabs a couple of times. And I think he had a lot of confidence to begin with. And I was just like, I need to disrupt that. If you disrupt the signal from, his brain to his muscles to make him unsure of himself, then he's gonna hesitate. He's not gonna know what to do. So I was just throwing some quick jabs here and there, and then I was just like, I'm gonna throw a hard ass right hook to the body just to scare him. Yeah. Because no one likes to get hit to the body. I don't care who you are. If you can't breathe, you can't fight. You can't do anything.
Right.
So I hit him one real good time to the body. I knew it wasn't gonna land flush, just to scare him right here on the elbow, and he felt it, and he started moving.
Yeah. It's kind of like the famous quote from Mike Tyson, right? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Exactly.
But it punched to the body in this case.
Yeah. And even for me too, like you can work on all this stuff in the locker room, all 2 months, even in the gym, you can work for it for 2 months just for the fight. But you really don't know what to expect or what you're gonna do until you get into the ring, because it's not a script.
And it's correct me if I'm wrong here, it's a bit of a dance when you're talking about rhythm and everything, and getting on, finding their wavelength, finding how you can disrupt it, where you're going to find your rhythm as opposed to his, and how you're gonna use it to your advantage. It's a bit of a dance, no?
Yeah, exactly. You might try to step on his toes a little bit just to throw him off of his game so your game can work better. He's gonna try to do the same. So it's about fighting who can dance better.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. So before we go any further, we do, you're still in training. You got a big year ahead of us. We're gonna get into all that. I'm in my dry January state right now. So we got a couple of these zero proof mocktails in a can made by Recess here. You chose the watermelon mojito. I'm gonna do a little lime margarita, and we'll cheers to that and get into this a little deeper here, man. Thanks for coming out to the house, man. So quickly after a fight. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Cheers, brother.
That's good.
That's not bad.
It's good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
It's fizzy.
And they're not even sponsoring this show, man. Maybe they will after this. But no, man. Back to the fight. Back to the night in general, the promotion held by Golden Boy in Vegas on the Zone. I watched the whole card, and I wanted to ask you, like, you've been with Golden Boy for a little while now.
Yeah.
The 140 and 147 division, Oscar was in between every match. I don't know if you knew that because you're in the dressing room, but or in your locker room. He came out in between every single match to talk about the division, the weight class rather, and the new signings of everybody that he's been. I mean, that seems to me like, I don't know how often this happens, but it seems to me like Oscar went after a lot of dudes at 140 and 147 right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not super familiar with some of the names. Some of the bigger names I think we all know. But you know, some of the names that they signed, it looks like he's putting together some real talent in those weight classes.
Yeah, he's fielding a pretty good stable, you know, and that's what you want, you know. You want a good stable to fight other people, and they're eventually gonna fight each other.
Yeah,
that's the thing, you know. So there's some big fights that are being planned.
Yeah. Well, he was mentioning a few, like he's like, you know, there was. Ooh, the shocker of the night was the co-main event.
Yeah,
man.
You know what's crazy about that? I swear to God. So we were watching it. It was the first round, and
what were the guys' names? Barbosa.
It was okay. So Barbosa was the fight before the co-main.
No, yeah, you know, and then there was
Davies and Barroso. Barroso was
Barroso. I said Barroso.
Yeah.
Barroso. Yeah.
Yeah, those two of them had kind of similar names.
Yeah. we got it right.
Yeah.
He's like 40. He's a year older than me, and he's still in the ring. And like everyone, I mean, Davies has just signed to Golden Boy.
He just signed. That was his pro debut. Well, not his pro debut, but his debut with Golden Boy.
Yeah. And you know, he was favored, I believe, or at least it seemed like from the promotion that was running it. Mm-hmm. He looked to be favored, but they did say, man, they're like, the one thing Barroso still has, like, obviously he's still great, but the one thing that he hasn't lost a step on is his power.
Yeah,
and they were mentioned that, and I was like, okay. And I literally went downstairs to grab a bite. I came back up, and I saw Davies like dazed, and the match was over. I was like, fuck. So I had to hit rewind. I was like, what did I miss? You know, and I was like, and dude, that one was out within. That one was even shorter than your fight.
It was shorter than that fight. Yeah. So my dad, we were all watching it in the corner. I didn't even have my gloves on yet, and it was the fight before, and my dad was like, you know what? He can catch it with the left overhand. I swear to God, 2 seconds later, boom, he caught him with the overhand, and that was the beginning of the end right there. But it was crazy. And
he was dazed. I mean, Davies just went poop, and you saw his legs buckle as he fucking fell back a little bit, and then he was up against the rope, and then he got a couple more hits in, and that one was, you could see Davies' eyes were gone, dude. Like he was gone.
No, that's the beauty about boxing. You never know what's gonna happen, and you can never count anyone out. Yeah. Because, you know, boxing is a brutal sport. You know, absolutely. One punch can change the entire fight.
That talk about getting someone off their rhythm, catching them with a hook like that, like that's a way to get someone off their rhythm.
Yeah.
So, kudos to Barroso. I guess now he's gonna go. They were talking about it that night. I wasn't too familiar, but his last fight was against the world champ.
Yeah.
And now he's probably going to get a rematch on that. And I guess that one ended controversially as well.
That one ended controversially as well. But the thing is, he's the world champion now. That was for the vacant belt.
Yeah, it was for the vacant belt. Right, right.
So good for him, you know.
Yeah.
He gets another good paycheck, you know, feed his family.
Yeah.
So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know, going into the fight, knowing you and knowing Golden Boy Promotion, and they're hyping up Davies, I was like, I was rooting for him, you know? Yeah. But then you hear the story of Barroso, and I was like, it's kind of hard not to root for this guy too. He's like older family man, just still doing it because he loves the sport, you know. Kind of got a raw deal on his last fight, you know. So I mean, I was happy for him too, you know. And I'm sure Davies will bounce back. I mean, but
yeah, he's a good fighter. He's young, you know. He still got time.
Yeah. So it was a great card, man. Like there were some good matches in there. But back to Oscar just promoting all the. I mean, you got Ryan Garcia in the 140. He's talking about over there too. So it's got some exciting shit coming up. I think. Yeah,
they do. They got a few good fights lined up. I believe Ryan might fight Rollies, which is you know, they got some history between them. I don't think they like each other at all. So. That's one to look out for. You know, I'm not promoting anything. You know, I'm not the promoter, but that's just you know, if
we're just talking. We're just talking.
Yeah, of course. You know, if you watch boxing, then you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then
Go check it out, man.
Check it out.
There's some exciting stuff that's happening in boxing too for me. Like as a fan, like I don't know if you feel it as a fighter, but there's some down years sometimes. When the big names aren't fighting and stuff like that. It's just and then obviously the last 20 years the influx of MMA becoming huge. You have that competition, whereas before 25 years ago, you didn't have that competition in boxing. Mm-hmm. How do you see that like affecting the bottom dollar or the business or anything like that? Or do you kind of just keep your head down and do your thing?
So I'm not sure what to think about it. I know a lot of people love UFC now. It's kind of like the new wave right now.
Right.
But I feel like boxing is just, it's the oldest sport in the world. But fighting has been around forever. It's literally in our blood, So it's just, I know MMA is fighting too.
The Coliseum and shit.
Exactly.
Not directly boxing, but combat.
I feel like people are gonna love watching people duke it out.
Yeah.
And no matter what sport it is, so.
I think there's room for me personally as a fan. I just think there's room for both.
Oh,
obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what I think is cool, like every once in a while you get like the Paul brothers and what Mayweather was doing his exhibitions, bringing it, overlapping the two a little bit, which I think is good because you're getting both fan bases who are obviously into combat sport. Why not show them the difference and why they can still coexist? To me, they're very different, but they still under the realm of combat, right?
It's the same thing. It's the same discipline.
Yeah. But when you're watching it, like boxing is more, obviously it's all hands, and you're using your hands. There's plenty of footwork going on. Plenty of footwork, don't get me wrong. I ain't trying to downplay that. But like, it's more, there is more of a beauty in some ways to boxing.
There is.
It's a prettier sport in a lot of ways to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because in boxing, like you said, you can only really use your hands when you're fighting. So you kind of have to get creative with it. You can't kick. There's no elbows. You can't even really hug for a long time. So you just gotta do what you can with the little that we got and be the best at it.
Yeah.
So there's a really, how do I say this, like 50%, there's the big 50%, and then there's like a 30, but then there's that 0.1% that are at the top, and those are the ones making the big money. And you have to be able to separate yourself from all these guys, and it's kind of hard to do that.
Right.
With only your hands. Some people in MMA are really good at kicks, and that's why they're up there. Or some people are really good at fighting on the ground or wrestling or whatever. And some people have weaknesses to different stuff. But in boxing, just hands.
Yeah.
That's all you can work with.
Yeah.
So it's just a different beauty. I can respect both.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Mm-hmm. There's beauty in MMA too.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring in the jiu-jitsu, grappling and stuff like that, and you get to the technical aspect of that. That's a rhythmic thing too on the ground. It's just I guess in some ways I would consider boxing to have more of like the beauty of like ballet in it, because there is more of that dancing rhythm going around, and figuring shit out. There's so to me that's the main difference. But it is cool that there is another competition or more eyes on combat sports in general. From MMA.
That's a good thing. All fans are good fans in my opinion. So it's good. We can broaden the spectrum a little bit. Just keep an open mind. That's really it. You know?
And now that like UFC's bought a portion of WWE,
I've seen that.
That was in March of last year, or that went down April, because it was after WrestleMania. It was right after WrestleMania. Yeah. And I've turned you up. We talked about wrestling. We've watched some wrestling up here. In this very bar.
Oh, that's some good shit. Yeah, hell yeah.
Man, I wanted to get you back in it because you're 20-0 right now. You're 24 years young. You're 24 or you're 25? You're 25 now.
Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
That's all good.
But yeah, 25 years old, 25 years young still. Amazing boxing career. It's going to be the focus for a long time moving forward. But like, when you watch wrestling with me, I brought it up a couple of times. I was like, I see you, man, in your retired years, getting back, maybe doing some cool fucking spots and some wrestling, man.
I mean, that'd be cool, man. Learn to do a couple backflips. I already have a high pain tolerance, so if you slam me on the ground, I'll be able to take it.
Yeah.
I think so. Better, easier said than done, but that'd be real interesting. I'd be more than down to do that.
Yeah, I think I see that a lot, like, and more, like when I was a kid watching, there was only a few guys that would come over from, you know, the sports world into the sports entertainment world that is wrestling, professional wrestling. I mean, you had guys that did it, but early on, you never knew if they were actually going to be good at it, right? Mm-hmm. But then again, going back to the Paul brothers, like Logan Paul is amazing.
He's a natural.
He is an absolute natural athlete out there with it. I mean, he's obviously a natural athlete to begin with.
Yeah.
But you still have to put in the work and the training for this stuff. That's a lot of things that people don't understand. I've become a lot of friends with a lot of these professional wrestlers and stuff over the years, and the training that goes into it. It's not like a lot of people. It's easy enough to watch something and say like, oh, I could do that. You know. Yeah, as we all do naturally in our heads.
Yeah,
but like when you actually look at it, like there's some shit that goes into it. So you can't just walk in like they used to. You know, like, and especially just like every sport, everything evolves as. You know, the new generations learn from the old generations. They start to develop better, you know, and figure out things more. Do you see that in boxing too, I guess? Like, when you look back at old videos of boxers and stuff, and you're studying tapes, and when you're growing up and stuff, and your dad is your coach and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys see the progression over the years of talent in boxing, like in other sports?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, there's different kinds of eras. Like, back then, the era was like just straight up fighting, you know. And what I mean by that is because everyone's fighting, right? But there's the brawling fighting, and then you got the boxing kind of power boxing fighting, you know, like you got like Leonard or Hearns, you know, like they were able to keep their distance, but at the same time they weren't inside like touching heads, you know, banging to the body and stuff, which they were, but for the most part they were at arm's length or whatever.
Talking about like the bigger heavyweights keeping each other out, waiting for the big punch.
And then you had like the Mayweather kind of era where it was more boxing, more defense. You know, everyone's appreciating the defense factor of the sport.
Right.
Now I feel like it's kind of coming back to power boxing. Because, you know, you got fighters like Crawford, who's, you know, one of the top pound for pounds right now. And you got Canelo, who's a big fighter, but he also has a lot of defense as well. And you got a guy from Japan, Inoue. He's a monster. His name is literally the Monster. He's just a big puncher. So right now we're kind of shifting eras again. Okay. So it's just history repeats itself.
Right.
You know, so we're kind of going back in time right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and talking about other sports, I know we were talking, I know, and everyone assumes you being from Prairie and Dallas area in Texas, everyone would assume you're a big Cowboys fan, know all the sports and stuff. You're like, I don't really pay attention. But one is basketball. I make it again when you talk about, you know, the big punching coming back. Mm-hmm. In the NBA right now, you can make an argument that for the last long time, everyone went away from the big man game. And now you've got all these big men in the game right now that are dominating because they've developed a new way of being a big man, and it's like it's really exciting to see it. I know you're a bit of a Mavericks fan, though, right?
I'm a big Mavericks fan.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. Look, having Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic.
That's really exciting right there.
That's a good duo, man.
Of course.
I'm a diehard Lakers fan, so I don't love seeing it, you know.
Understandable.
Yeah. But no, just rapping about sports, man. Like, I know you always trained in boxing and stuff, but when you were younger, before you started really training in boxing, were you an athlete in other sports in high school and middle school and shit?
So I've actually always been in boxing since 5 years old. So it kind of, as far as I can remember, I've actually been in boxing.
Yeah. Did you? Well, when you were a kid, was it one sport only, or did you diverse into other sports? So
it's actually really only been boxing, at least as far as like competing on a team. Like, of course, in PE, you know, if we have a basketball day, I'll play basketball. I'm a real competitive person by nature.
No, I couldn't imagine that. No, professional boxer, competitive? No.
Yeah. So I mean, I like playing basketball. Football, I kind of wasn't allowed to because, you know, it was kind of more getting tackled, might break my arm or something. But in basketball, you know, I was a shooter. And I'm actually really good at defense in whatever sport I play, just because I have a lot of stamina. Like, I'm gonna chase you down, I'll stay on you the whole time. No one had the stamina that I had. Right. You know, I actually did cross country. I did cross country and track, you know, but it was just kind of more of I can run in school and then train later, right, and kind of have a rest in between. So it was kind of still more of a boxing thing, but like conditioning wise. But I actually really love running competitively. I just wasn't as good as it. compared to boxing. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
You kind of have a natural talent for boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I knew where my strengths were, but you know, it helped both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I was curious about that because a lot of professional athletes I've talked to and stuff like that, they did a lot of different stuff. Or even you hear like a basketball player was actually like a all-star quarterback when he was in high school and then switched over to basketball.
The kicker for the Cowboys, he was a soccer player. I think he was either semi-professional or he's professional.
I think he was a professional.
He was a professional.
I think I heard that this season when I was watching one.
Yeah, and he missed his first field goal and never missed again after that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think they call him no error. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans.
Everyone in Dallas is like,
I've been watching recently. I'm still getting their names, man. But he's phenomenal, man. He's been making like a lot of goals past 50 yards and shit, like easy.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you can't even no doubt something. I don't know, but he's you know he's gonna make it every time he goes for a field goal. It don't matter how far it is.
It is interesting to see how that like translates, right? Because you're kicking a different ball. It's a different style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, sure, it's under the guides of kicking. But you know he's got to go from a soccer ball to a football and have that different idea. There's differences within it, right?
Yeah.
That you know he's got to retrain for.
Oh yeah.
It would just make sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, someone's holding the ball. It's a complete different fucking shape.
Yeah.
You know.
But he still has the mechanics, obviously.
Yeah, he has the mechanics. He has a good foundation. I think that's kind of what matters, you know.
Right.
So.
Well, my son's pretty good at soccer at 6 years old, so maybe one day
yeah?
he'll just be a kicker in football. Because he loves football, but he's got my size. I don't know if he's going to make it too far in football.
If he's just the kicker, he just has, you know.
I mean, I'd be happy. But do you know what though? I was talking to Zach about this. We all watch football in the band. Like we all have. When we're out on the road, we're on Sundays. We all sit around and watch in the dressing rooms, like all the games through Red Zone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were taught like so many times. Like Zach brought it up. He's like, dude, that's like the toughest fucking job in sports is a NFL kicker.
Yeah.
Because everything happens, and then sometimes it just comes down to you to make or break one fucking kick for the game, and like all that pressure, all your teammates, the stadium's waiting, like
it's all eyes on you. You know,
yeah, dude.
It's down to you.
Yeah. So it can be sometimes, man. It's like, so you said you started watching a little bit more of the Cowboys this season. Mm-hmm. It's a good time to do it. Second seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I know. They're doing real good.
Looks like they have like probably their best shot to making it to the Super Bowl.
I hope so.
This season. Got to get through the 49ers.
Yeah.
Detroit looked really. I don't know if did you see that game against Detroit?
I saw Detroit. Yeah, that was kind of a weird ending.
It was a bullshit ending.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, look, there was still time on the clock. Is there a possibility that the Cowboys still come back after that 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
You never know. Those are what ifs that you can't fucking bake on, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's the arguments for both sides of it, but for me, I'm watching it, I'm going like, oh man, that was a robbery. There's a reason why the refs are not allowed to coach ref in the playoffs this season.
Really?
Yeah, they said you guys can't.
Wow.
Because that was a blown call, man. Like,
I don't know the rules like that, so but explain it to me. What happened?
So from my understanding, again, I'm not NFL fucking staff or anything like that. All I know is what I watch on ESPN from the football players who've done it, everything like that. And I do know some rules. I did play football in high school, but that's completely neither here nor there. Basically, if you're an offensive lineman and you are going to go out for a pass beyond the 5-yard line, 5 yards out rather from the line of scrimmage, you have to check. You have to let the referee know. You have to let him know that, hey, I'm going to be eligible on this play. Now, 3 of the linemen checked in for eligibility, which is not illegal, but it's very uncommon. Mm-hmm. So they didn't, and I guess what happened is they said one of the guys didn't check in.
Yeah.
And and then they have footage of him clearly checking in with the ref.
Dang.
So it was like, it was a bullshit call. It was a bullshit call that they missed.
Okay. I have no words.
Most Cowboy fans don't on that one.
I got no words, man.
We'll take the win. But you know what? It ended up working. I mean, a lot of it was at stake that week, I will say, like, because the division was at stake between Cowboys and the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Cowboys win that game. Now they're division leaders. but it came down to this last Sunday where to really solidify it. And what ended up happening, the Eagles lost the last 2 games anyway. The Cowboys were going to win the division anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it was what ended up happening. It's at the end of the day, it didn't end up mattering, but in that moment, it did.
It did, yeah, of course.
But if I was a Cowboys fan, if I end up having to meet the Detroit Lions again in the playoffs with that chip on their shoulder,
oh yeah,
I don't know if I'd be too confident going into that game because they're a good team, man.
They are a good team. I mean, you know, the chip on the shoulder can also be a double-edged sword. So
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. As a Cowboys fan.
Well, no, they're gonna have a good fucking run, I think, this season.
Yeah.
Who are they matching up with the first week? They got who's the? I don't even remember now who they got.
I find out the day of, man.
Yeah.
I always find out the day of.
Yeah, they got a matchup coming up though. It's gonna be interesting. I'm a big NFL fan. I'm a Raiders fan. We talked about before we hit the roll out on it. You know, it is what it is. Now I'm excited. Antonio Pierce came in halfway through the season, as any Raiders fan out there know, and showed out, man. He showed out that he could be a leader and get the same players to play better.
Yeah.
And I mean, his defensive mind. I really hope that Mark Davis gives him the job and he continues on as the Raiders head coach next season. Give him the shot, man. Like give him some another year under his belt as head coach and see what happens.
Of course, man.
Exciting stuff there. So, all right, we talked a little bit about sports. I know a lot of people over here tune in for me to talk about music and shit like that. And that's actually where you and I became friends through this, is through your fandom of my band, Avenged Sevenfold. And, you know, we've been rapping about music for a while now. And you play guitar.
Yeah.
You're working on a little bit of piano and stuff. Like, talk to me a little bit about your musical journey. Like, what draws you to music? Like, and why you decided to pick up the guitar.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. So my dad, I get a lot of my music taste from my dad. You know, he's listened to rock, obviously. You know, he listens to a lot of rap, like the gangster rap, NWA stuff. Like, I really into that at one point. He listened to a lot of like Latin freestyle, you know, just different stuff like that. But I've always loved rock. And, you know, some of the first bands I got into, you know, Linkin Park, Metallica, and, you know, eventually you guys. He had Backcountry on his computer, but the music video, and I was maybe like 7, 8 years old at the time, and I would watch it over and over again, you know, and I remember
I was 19, 18 when that was that.
Wow. You're standing out with your bare thumb and shit. Man. But it was an interesting video. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in that video, and actually the fight poster for my fight is actually inspired by Backcountry. I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
But it's inspired by Backcountry.
Oh, sick.
It is. Yeah. But anyway, so, you know, that happened, and Guitar Hero came out.
Right.
So of course everyone's playing Guitar Hero. I wanted to play the guitar. One of my favorite boxers at the time gifts me one of his guitars because he plays as well. And, you know, started learning stuff from ultimateguitar.com, you know, the tabs and stuff. Where I learned how to read tabs. Crawling by Linkin Park was the very first thing I ever learned. And then it just went on from there, you know. I bought my first amp in the 9th grade. I picked up the piano 2016, 2017. And I just been learning by myself off of YouTube and stuff. And, of course, I learned a lot of your stuff, you know, drop D shit. Oh, that's when I first learned about drop D, you know, just hitting that fucking open chord. There's nothing like it. You know, I wish I could do it again for the first time, man. But yeah, I'm a big music guy. Very big music guy.
Dude, that's so funny. You talk about like learning through YouTube and online and stuff. Like my generation, like for me, I did start with a book and then quickly moved on to tablature. It was a little different. We didn't have YouTube when I was starting out. There wasn't a lot of video stuff. You had to go out and buy DVDs from different players that you liked and stuff like that.
Okay.
They had tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
But there wasn't like this DIY learning how to do it like on YouTube and stuff at the time. So I always find it interesting because like I was at the very beginning where online was like you can learn stuff from the internet on how to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like now, fast forward, you know, 25 years later, I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is a great time for like a kid to just like who wants to ingratiate themselves in music further than just listening. Like whether or not you end up doing anything with it is kind of irrelevant to this point. It's just the information is out there for you, you know, at your fingertips, like you said, over YouTube. And it's not just tablature. It's because a lot of times for me, the tablature would either be wrong, or B, you don't actually understand where, like, what's supposed to happen there on the nuance.
Yeah, you don't really hear it. You don't know like how to play it, or you know, it can be the right note on the right fret, but you don't know if it's supposed to be like a. You know what I mean? You know, it just doesn't. You don't
know.
nuances.
It's the nuances, the feels, and everything. That you know, like, and with YouTube, with all that stuff, and with musicians that are out there that are, you know, doing things on master classes and showing how they achieved that stuff to begin with. I think it's a really great time for people to get out there and like learn how to play some real instruments and shit. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of content creators nowadays. You know, just always you're always learning something different, and right now is a really good time to pick up an instrument. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, you brought one from my son we got over here, which I really appreciate. The PRS.
The PRS. It's a beautiful guitar.
Dude, I can you go grab that for me real quick? Actually, let's bring that into the shot.
See, I'm gonna walk.
You walk right in front of it. Don't worry about it. We're all good.
I just put it right here.
Yeah. Oh, that is a beaut, man. So this is for Frankie, huh?
Yeah, it's for Frankie.
Dude, he's gonna be stoked. Oh, I wish he was here right now. He's at school right now. This is sick, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar, man. You know, it's a John Mayer Silver Sky PRS.
Dude.
Yeah, man, it treated me good, and I hope it treats him better. Has a little battle scar right there. I'm not exactly sure what happened right there, but I like to think it gives it an aesthetic.
No, that's good. I mean, it's used. I like it.
Yeah,
it's been loved. It's been loved, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem.
So we were talking. We just went over to the Avenged Sevenfold warehouse, and I showed you around over there. And on the way over, we were talking a little guitar, and you brought up your favorite guitarist.
Yeah, Randy Rhoads.
Randy Rhoads, man. Mm-hmm. You said you read somewhere that someone said it was his favorite guitar player with the worst tone.
Yeah, so YouTuber goes by Music Is Win. He brought up. He didn't say the name yet. He was like, okay, so this guitar player has horrible tone, but he's an amazing guitarist. And I was just like, it's Randy Rhoads. Like, there's just no other person it could be. And when he said it, I was like, I just started laughing, you know. But his tone wasn't the best, but, you know, his playing was just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It was on another level. You know, I believe he started as a classical guitarist, and then he went to rock, and he's just the best.
Yeah, dude. I definitely think he's one of the greatest. I think we were talking about that tone specifically. We were talking about the fuzz on it and stuff. And I was like, also got to remember the era that he was coming up in, like, you know. And I was pointing out, like, for me, it's more impressive that he had less technology, less of the saturation on the guitar, and was still able to bring out that fucking feel and make it sound like he made the guitar do what he wanted it to do.
Exactly.
Which is that's a whole nother level of guitar playing. So I agree. And then you did mention though that there was what was it, top 10 solos of all time?
Yeah,
Did you read that on?
Yeah, I was watching like something on MTV or on YouTube or somewhere. It was saying, you know, I'm a very big solo guy. You know, who doesn't love a good solo? You know what I mean? And you know, I was just watching it, and as we got to number one, it said Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. And I'm like, okay, I never heard this song before. I was like 10 at the time. And I listened to it, you know, I had this big expectation to hear this badass solo, you know, just my expectations were through the roof, and I heard it and I was just like, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't a bad solo. It wasn't okay, but I mean, I was a little let down. Yeah. But then, you know, flash forward to 5 years later, I hear the same song again. I hadn't heard that song in 5 years. I hear it again. I hear the solo. I'm like, damn, that was a good ass solo. What song is this? And I Shazam it, and I'm just like, oh,
it's an amazing solo by Marty Friedman.
It's an amazing solo, you know.
We were just listening because I was like, I hadn't heard that solo in a minute either. It was after breakfast. So I was like, let's get in the car and go listen to it. It's been a minute. And I was listening back to it and I was like, oh yeah, those parts, man.
It goes hard.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it's an insane solo, man. And I mean, to claim the best solo of all time, I don't know. That's tough. That's
Yeah,
tough.
it's really
there's
tough.
so many
Yeah.
great there's
Yeah.
so many great cases that you can make for a lot of other things. But I'll be damned when I listen back to it today before we hit rolling on this. I was like, Marty.
He did his shit. He did his shit on it. Yeah, for sure.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
So what's some of the other, like, we're getting into guitar a little bit here.
Yeah.
What's some of the other music that you get into, or some other artists, even in the same genre that you fuck with?
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so recently I've been getting into jazz. You know, I've been listening to some Louis Armstrong. There's this new artist. Well, I don't know if she's new, but she's younger. I think she's maybe like a year younger than me. Her name's Laufey. It's like Laufey. She's really good. She's like from Iceland. I listen to some rap. You know, who doesn't listen to Drake or whatever every now and then. But of course, you know, I listen to Avenged Sevenfold, Metallica, Mice and Men, Polyphia. I'm a rock guy. If I don't listen to rock, I swear to God, I get headaches.
Really?
I swear, I'm not even lying.
Like how many? You're like a fiend. So like,
yeah.
so like how many hours before you gotta get your fix?
Man, I don't know. I think maybe a good like 20 minutes. You know, I swear, I'm like, I just
gonna
need
get a
it.
headache right here on the podcast. We ain't got fucking music playing.
Yeah, man. I don't know. There's just something about it. You know, it's a rock it's a stress reliever just listening to it. You know what I mean? Like it's therapy for me.
Yeah, it definitely can be for sure.
Yeah, man. It gets that chaotic energy out of me. You know, as a boxer, you know, I have a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, I need to let it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, shit, I think a lot of people could, you know, everyone has their, you know, when they're in the gym, their pump up songs, their pump up genre, whatever it may be. And it could be any genre, but like, a lot of times I do hear a lot of people like, specifically listening to events like, oh man, I lift to you guys, you know, it's like specifically lifting, not running, but specifically lifting.
Shit, bro, I can run to you guys, I can work out, I can sleep to you guys. I mean, shit, y'all got music for everything. Roman Sky puts me to sleep, bro.
Yeah,
it's just a good ass song.
Thank you, man. Oh, dude, but speaking on like going to like music and stuff, going to concerts, you were actually out there one of our first shows of the tour. Mm-hmm. In Massachusetts, Mansfield, yeah, just outside of Boston, and that was famously where Sinister Gates got a contusion in his calf. It's funny to laugh at now because like at the time we had to like cancel like that. He had to leave and we had to stop the show a little early.
Right after A Little Piece of Heaven.
Right after A Little Piece of Heaven.
Right before God, yeah.
Yeah, before we went to God and. Yeah, I mean, we were all kind of shocked. We were like, where the I mean, for me, I'm on stage. I'm like, where the fuck is Brian? Yeah. I can hear him playing. And I go back after the song, and he's back there sitting on a stool with his fucking leg up going, shaking his fucking head. I'm like, oh, poor guy. You know, everything's good now. But, I mean, was that your first concert that you went to us?
Of you guys.
Of
yes,
us.
that was my very first concert of you guys.
Right, so he was the bad omen. No, but we got to hanging afterward. We got to hang with Zach. I know that for a little bit. That was really cool, man.
Yeah, it was real cool meeting you guys for the first time. Y'all guys are really cool, of course. I mean, I'm not just saying that to say it, but it was an honor.
Wow,
for
dude.
sure. Yeah.
It's an honor. It's been an honor getting to know you over the past few years and stuff. Since everyone could go back in the archive. We have had Vergil on the show before, right here. But it's always been virtual before. You know, you're in Texas and California.
It's the first one in person.
Yeah. Cheers to that, motherfucker. Yeah, we've been getting to know each other over the past few years and hanging out and stuff. It's just been awesome, and obviously being a fan of combat sports and you specifically, like after, I think it was like a boxing media outlet, like a magazine or something like that you had won, like it was like Rookie of the Year or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was the ESPN Prospect of the Year in 2019 and the Ring Magazine 2019 as well.
That's what it was, and they interviewed you on it, and you had mentioned Avenged Sevenfold, and that's when I was like, we should reach out to this guy and see.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Shit.
Yeah, man, that's fucking super cool. I did notice though, speaking of music and bringing it back to boxing a little bit.
Yeah.
What's that song that you came out to on Saturday night? Is that your staple song that you always come out to? Like everyone comes down to, you know, everyone has their songs that they come out to when they're coming down to the ring, and you guys get to choose it and and everything like that.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I told my dad to surprise me, and I was just so zoned in. I swear to God, I didn't hear anything. I swear to God,
Wow.
I just walked in the ring and I don't know.
So your dad picked that one out.
He picked. I told him to just pick it. Like I don't
We're
care.
gonna find out what that song is.
Yeah, but man, it was like I said, I was just in the zone. I didn't care about nothing except winning.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see some of the guys come out though, and they're like they kind of dance into their song a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious. Has there been what songs have you actually chosen? Then, if your dad picked this one, do you ever choose it?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I've walked out to For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Nice.
Back in Black a couple times. There's a Mexican song called Un Rinconcito en el Cielo. It's called The Corner in the Sky. It's about some guy wanting to meet his lover basically in heaven. You know, so it's kind of like a romantic song, you know.
Okay.
Which is not a typical walkout song, but for me, you know, it reminds me of my childhood, and I just like it. I've walked out to a few songs.
Okay.
Yeah, and not just one or two.
Yeah, and I think that kind of segues into the next thing I want to talk about was your time off in
Yeah.
you know, for the year and a half, and it does because we over the past few years we've become friends and stuff, and you've invited me out. There was going to be one here in LA.
Yeah.
Like right at beginning of
Right before COVID.
right before COVID.
Yeah.
And that one got canceled. But
Yeah.
we were gonna walk out with you on that one.
I didn't know. Y'all were gonna surprise me too.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been sick. When I
wanted
found
that
out, my
bad.
stomach dropped. I was like, no.
Yeah, we wanted to walk out with you on that one, or at least I was going to. I don't know about the rest of the guys. Fuck them. But it was going to be, you know. I really hope we still get an opportunity to do that down the line.
fuck yeah.
So, because you know, for me as a fan of boxing and of yours, I just think it'd be a really cool experience to be one of those guys in the back, the posse in the back, fucking walking down, you know.
Yeah.
And just cheering you on, man. But so let's get into that year and a half off though.
Yeah.
You know? So COVID was one thing that was postponing some stuff at the beginning, but then you got back into it in 2021.
Yeah.
As we talked about your last fight in August of 21. And then, or was that 22? That was 22.
22 was the last time I fought.
Yeah,
Before
it's
this
22.
one.
22. Correction. But you know, in that you had some health issues that were happening.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into that. Can you explain? Now, I'm gonna butcher what the actual.
It's a long story.
Yeah,
It's a long story.
So why don't you just fucking tell it?
All right. Yeah. So basically, you know, I'm a hard ass worker. You know, when I'm training for war. So I'm just staying ready for whatever comes my way. I fought a very hard fight in 2021. Mean Machine, you know, I got hurt in that one, but we came around and we won the fight. And I was expecting to fight another time that year, and we were also switching camps, so we were getting ready before the camp for the camp, and the fights it got postponed and it got postponed again, and I was just training too long. You know, I train hard as it is, which is fine. You know, the intensity is not the problem, but if I'm training too long, too hard, then that's when it becomes a problem. My body just
Right. So
kinda give up on it.
so the people at home understand a little bit, you have these fights lined up.
Yes.
So you're training for that date.
Yes.
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 Everything is meticulously day to day figured out how you're going to get to peak performance on that specific day.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't happen, it elongates, and then what do you do? So I'm asking the question: what do you do when that happens? You just obviously you're saying you keep training, or is it you have to reassess that date?
So you can, it's hard. See, that's the thing. It fucks up the whole equation. You know, it's you're no longer gonna get the same outcome that you worked for. So you kind of just you can lay off, but after a 2-month camp, you need a minimum of month rest. Well, if the fight gets postponed a couple of weeks, I don't have time to rest.
Right.
You know, even if it's a month, I'm still losing a whole month of camp if I you know, take a break. So it's just I'm kind of fucked either way.
Right.
You know, so we just have to work with what we got. We can rest a little bit, but once it gets postponed again and again, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster. You know, you just so that happened.
So,
fight
yeah.
got postponed. You know,
So you continue training hard.
Yeah.
Continue.
and then the fight eventually happened. It went from March to July. You know, I got my time to rest, and we fought again. And then before that fight we paid money to make it an eliminator to fight for the world title. So I already knew before that fight I was going to fight the world champion. And we were expected to fight him before the year ended. Well, literally the same shit happened again, like copy and paste. So it happened again.
Right.
You know, so it was just, it was doomed.
And what is the diagnosis? What was the...
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis?
Yeah.
And what exactly is that for the people at home?
So basically it's like the muscular breakdown of your muscles, basically, you know, and the proteins kind of go into your kidneys. I think your liver too. I might be mistaken on that part, but basically your body basically starts shutting down, and a lot of people die from it.
Yeah, it's a serious thing. Like,
yeah, it is.
And especially when you're having to continually battle with that while you're training and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's scary, man. Like, I know they were saying on Saturday night, the commentators were saying, like, I don't know if you and I ever specifically spoke on this, but a lot of guys don't come back from that. Like, can't box again, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been going through your mind, right?
Yeah, you know, it did. It crossed my mind a few times. But really the only way you can get through life, period, no matter what the situation is just to stay positive.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep a positive mindset and just get through it.
Right. Yeah. And as I can say for all your fans right now, including myself, I was glad and hyped to see you come back, man. Like, I was like, yes. And I think we were texting, you know, each time before the fight. I was like, how's the training going? You're like, oh, fuck, man, I'm in the hospital again and shit like that. And I was like, oh, man, just take care of yourself, obviously, first and foremost.
Yeah.
But, man, like, when you finally told me, you're like, dude, I'm going up in weight. I remember texting you, I was like, good. I was like, man, you're killing yourself down 147.
Yeah, man. Nah, it was about time too, but hey, my body thanked me for it big time.
Yeah, and you could tell. I mean, you could tell. You're like, when I saw you in Mansfield, like you already announced that you were going up to 154, and this fight was getting announced, and I remember just seeing you, and I was like, damn, you look healthier, man.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that you're healthier, back at it.
Thank you.
You got the 154 division to conquer now.
Yeah.
And you called out Tim Zhu.
Tim Zhu, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that fight happens, whether it be the next one, but hopefully within this year, right?
Oh, definitely. You know, so a lot of the problems is that we've been waiting for fighters to be open. So we're not going to do any more waiting, you know. We want the best fights, but if they're not available, then we're just going to stay busy.
Right.
But of course, we're gonna take the best fights that we can.
Right. And I think you said your goal is to get at least 4 fights in this year?
At least 3, but we're shooting for 4.
Shooting for 4.
Shooting for 4.
Wow. Yeah. Well, everyone, make sure you follow Vergil for that, and DAZN and Golden Boy Promotions, because gotta be some exciting fights coming up.
Oh yeah, all my fights are exciting.
Yeah.
They've all ended in
That's true.
knockout.
That's true. Yeah. Well, this one was exciting for a different reason.
Yeah, man.
No, man, but we could get into that real quick. The early stoppage. You know, we talked about it at the top of the show a little bit, but
yeah,
let's get back to it a little bit. As again, like, let's talk about the technical aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Ref is there, as we said, to take care of you guys. Make sure no one's dying in the fucking ring, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people immediately, you heard the boos. It was very funny. You thought they were booing you.
I thought they were booing me. I heard, in my mind, I heard Ortiz sucks, and I was like, what did I do?
Yeah, no.
You know, I made weight. I showed up. I fought.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's out of your hands in a lot of respects, you know? I mean, like, you put it in your hands by doing what you set out to do.
Yeah.
You know, you were dominating the fight early on. I mean, there's no denying that. You were obviously in control of the fight. Outcome probably would have been the same regardless.
Like in literally like 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds. So it was like, it was going to be a short fight anyways.
Right.
And I understand from the fans' point of view, because I'm a boxing fan too, you want to see a knockout. People watch boxing because they want to see people get knocked out, or they just want to see a good fight.
A good fight.
Know,
I wanted to see a good fight.
You want to see a good fight, you know, no matter who you are. So I understand that part, but you also gotta look at the safety part of it. You know, you don't want no one dying in the ring. You don't want no one to, or at least I don't want even my opponents to be severely hurt.
Right.
You know, because, you know, I'm a human. You know, I want them to go back to their families and stuff. You know, to be good as much as I want to go to mine. Right.
I mean, do you see? I mean, like we said, the outcome was probably gonna be the same regardless. Do you see fighting him again, just because that was a little bit of a thing?
Nah, it's that fight's not gonna happen again. I mean, I was hurting him with a jab.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just I I want the big fights. You know, at this point, it's a back step.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, 20-0 though, man. Congrats on that. I mean, that's another thing I talk to my friends when I'm bragging about being friends with you and shit. I'm just like, people don't get to fucking 19, 20-0 by accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shows your dedication to the sport. And I bring that up to point out to anyone who would be a naysayer of how that went down.
Yeah.
That ain't you, man. You're there. You're a professional. You want to fight. You want to be there for the big fight. You want the smoke, as they say.
Oh, of course. You know, that it motivates me. I love fighting the hard fights. Even the fights that I'm not sure if I'm going to win or not 100%. That's what makes me on my toes. That's what gets me excited, you know, just train harder and all that stuff. Because I want to prove that I'm the best. Right. You know, I'm not here for a paycheck or anything. I want to be the best. And you can only do that by getting those hard fights.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Ric Flair, woo, woo. That was a better woo than I did. I like it. But you know, another side of you that I wanted to introduce the fans of Drinks with Johnny to, and any of your fans that are watching at home too. Man, you have really great aspirations. We've talked behind the scenes about it, of giving back to other athletes, your community in St. Prairie. And one of the things we were just talking about, man, is you were saying in your little city, there's not a lot of recovery areas, a lot of equipment to really help with what these people need. And you were talking about that might be something you want to do in the future. Expand upon that for me, man.
Yeah, so, you know, especially after my recent events with my health problems, you know, I've noticed that we don't have like some area or a place to really take care of our athletes' needs. And what I mean by that is like our recovery needs, you know, like ice baths or you know, cryotherapy, leg compression, massages. Yeah, we got massage places everywhere, but you know, they're like the McDonald's of massages. You know, they're not specialized.
You need sports therapy. Is what
sports therapy. Sports
therapy.
You know, yeah, that's the word.
You don't
right
have
there.
a lot in that.
We don't. At least in my city, we don't. Yeah, like upscale Dallas has it. The rich cities like north of Fort Worth have it, but in my area of Grand Prairie, you know, Irving.
Grand Prairie. I think I said St. Prairie a few times there.
Oh yeah, it's all good. No, you're good.
Everyone in Grand Prairie's like, fuck this guy, I'm turning it off.
It's all prairie. It's the same thing. In Arlington, you know, it's we don't have that stuff. You know, and we would be better athletes, and you know, just all around just better if we had all that stuff. And you know, I would love to be able to provide them with that. Right. You know, because they would benefit from that heavily.
Yeah. And like we were talking about, it was kind of a shock to me to hear that, because I just think of Texas as a whole, and specifically the Dallas area, Grand Prairie, Arlington, all that. As an outsider growing up, I just see that as like such a giant sports state and sports city, rather, around Dallas area, with on the professional level. And as I mentioned, you know, like, I didn't go to high school there, so I don't know, but all I know is like what I hear about and see, and like there's all the NFL, like a lot of the NFL prospects come out of Texas high schools, you know, because it's a big deal there. Like their Friday night lights are something different, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just surprising to hear that there are still, you know, smaller cities like that or you know, whatever, that don't have that. And I found that to be very interesting. And you were saying that like the bigger high schools had that, but like where you were going didn't have shit like that.
Yeah, no, we really didn't have it. Like my high school, I'm not sure what the budget is, but you know, even our good stuff isn't really as good as compared to, you know, the other high schools. You know, there's some high schools where the football coaches are being paid like way more than the teachers, and those are the high schools that are putting all their money into, you know, the recovery facilities, all the training stuff. Actually, you know, getting NFL players to show up to the high schools, you know, sending the players to camps and stuff. You know, we don't have that. We're just going straight up hard work, and you know, not a lot of those players, even with that, don't get to make it. You know, and it's just I want to give them a fair shot. Right. You know,
I think that's brilliant. I mean, and we were talking too. I think that came out last time when we were in Mansfield. You told me that you'd gone back to do some school, to get some college degrees, and it was specifically in business, right?
Yes.
Right. And I think you said that like it was good, but it's not exactly what you were looking for out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted to do something more like this, entrepreneurial, giving back a little bit more, something like that.
Yeah, you know, and I have a name, you know. I feel like I can just, you know, I can kind of get into the field a little bit, maybe use my name, team up with someone else who kind of knows more what they're doing, and together, you know, we could turn the DFW into something different, man.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the people from the DFW have to go somewhere else, like California, for example. Like I had to do.
Yeah, you came out here to train.
I had to come out here,
yeah.
you know, to be better, and you know, I want to be able to stop that. You know, stay in house.
Right.
You know, just straight up homegrown. You know. No, I'm happy to be here in California too. So don't get me wrong. I love California. It's my second home.
Yeah, we were going down Palm, and you're like, "This is a different street, man."
Yeah, it's beautiful out here, man. Don't get me wrong. You know, but yeah. So I would just love to be able to help out the hometown athletes.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful too. I mean, our other mutual friend Kelly, the Ghost Pavlik, who we have had numerous chains of text message threads going, specifically talking about boxing and stuff, and I'm getting the insight from these guys who are actually fucking doing it. So you know, we've had some bets over the years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But Kelly did so. You know, Kelly's doing something similar. At least giving back to, maybe not in the recovery area, but he's helping giving back to the kids in his area in Youngstown.
Yeah.
To you know, have a facilities to become professional boxers if they can, or even just be a part of the sport. And I think that's great. I mean, a lot of times you hear about, I'll say you, whatever, hear about athletes trying to do these things like giving back and stuff like that. And I never really understood until I get to meet some of you guys what exactly that means to you. You know, because you hear it and you're like, oh, that's cool. You know, they're doing charity work to, you know, be cool on TV and stuff. But it's like, no, it's coming from a real place because you're talking about your hometown you grew up in and stuff.
Yeah. Especially boxing, you know, because boxing, it's not like the NFL where it's one big organization. You know, in boxing, you're on your own.
Right.
You know, you can sign to your own manager. You can be on a different boxing team, but be signed to a different promoter. Everyone is by themselves. You can pick and choose who you want on your team.
Independent contracting.
Yeah, basically, you know, you're basically on your own. So that's why the whole recovery thing is you have to be able to take care of that on your own. And I didn't really know about this until maybe like a year ago. And I've been a professional for almost 8 years now. You know, so it's crazy how sports are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Access to different stuff.
Right. You got a whole team, as you're saying, in a lot of team sports. Very different than boxing. When it comes down to it, you got your trainers, you got your coaches, you got your management, your promoters, everything. But all that goes out the window when it's just you and the other guy across the ring, right? That's just you two, and like all eyes are on the competitors in the ring, right? Yeah. It makes it, you know, it's very focused, right? And it's like it's you versus that guy, you know.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of combat sports too. To me, you know, you have that in like tennis too. But
yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, your wife plays tennis? No, that's her tennis racket. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's fucking playing tennis like crazy, man.
That's cool.
She's good. She just started. She never played tennis in high school or college or anything like that. She picked it up during COVID.
Oh, okay, cool.
One of the many things a lot of people do, like golf and tennis, was like kind of the only
learning about ourselves during that whole time period. Right? Exactly. That's cool.
But she's gotten really good, man. Like she's in a short time. I mean, we're talking. This is barely not even 4 years in, and she's playing at a 4.0 level. So if anyone knows tennis, it's a pretty good, a pretty fast jump because you start off at much lower in like 4.0s, and then it goes up and up and up until you get to the pro level. Yeah. But like. She's pretty good. I have fun watching her play. Like,
that's cool, man.
She's down at the club sometimes playing, and she's like in 5 different leagues right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it's fun. I get to go down there. I grab lunch and a drink or something, and just sit back and like cheer her on and stuff.
That's cool, man.
It's pretty cool. My son comes with me, so we're all like, you know, you might not get it by looking at me, but I'm really big into sports, man. I like the competition. You know, I think it's a beautiful thing that in our society where it's like. It's something different than like, look, everyone argues about their beliefs, everything like that, and reality versus not reality, what we're all doing here. No one fucking knows, right? This is my belief. You have your own, yours is right too, it doesn't matter. But my belief really strongly is that none of us really know, like without a shadow of a doubt, what the fuck we're doing here.
Yeah.
We wake up one day into existence, and it's short-lived, and we're gone out of existence.
Yep.
There's not enough time to individually know anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All we can do is enjoy each other and understand at least the sheer mathematics of it. It's so improbable that we even exist, that we have flourished for as long as we have as a race,
Yeah.
and it's still super young. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of time, factor in all this shit in the universe, and the fact that you and I have become friends in this time, sitting here at the bar. I mean, it's astronomical. Like just enjoy that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting to. It's like, people just fucking enjoy the time that you're here. Don't fuck with other people. You know what I mean?
Cheers to that.
Have fun, man. Sports is great because it brings out that competitive nature that we have in ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it does it, hopefully, in the idea is the society. It's a civilized way of that competition and getting it out. And that's what, for me, that's why it means so much to me, is that I'm drawn more to it. There's the fandom. You get to argue with everybody and have fun with it. You know, it's like, it's just it's an added thing in life that I similar to the music. It's all entertainment. It's all to take your mind off the fucked upness of existence. You know?
Yeah, exactly, man. Just be happy. Just do whatever makes you happy, and don't care about what other people think about what you do. You know, that's just there's not enough time for that.
Nah.
You know, just do you.
Yeah.
You know, that's really, I can't say it better than you just did right now, man. But that's it.
I mean, well, that's the thing too. Like, going back to that fight, like when you're hearing people, Ortiz sucks. It wasn't the case, obviously. Yeah. It was like, he's like, they're not saying that, dude. I was laughing up here. I was like, oh, fucking Vergil. But I get it. Like, you can't hear everything that's going on. You just hear boos, and you're like, well, is that for me? You know? But
yeah.
obviously, it wasn't. I think the boxing world over kind of knows, and anybody who just tuned in to check you out, maybe that was their first fight.
Yeah.
I think even if it was your first fight, my point is that watching, you see that wasn't your call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're doing your thing, you know, and you do it well. And that's why it was called early. I mean, like, I mean, the writing was on the wall. Ref made the call, and that's what it came down to.
That's all it came down to, man.
And it's that competitiveness. I mean, you get to, as you said, listening to music, boxing. You know, for people, you know, running, whatever it may be that you do. That's getting your mind off of things, helping you process. And I think that's what makes it, sports and entertainment in general, just a beautiful thing for us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I completely agree.
Now, I did bring up Kelly Pavlik and a bet. We did have one specific bet. We had a few bets on this thread, and we've called each other on a couple fights. I lost one specifically against you.
Yeah.
Where I said I was going to give you one of my bass guitars.
Yeah.
This was now like probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember what fight it was?
It was Canelo Plant.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and the bet was what round he was going to get him out of there.
Yeah, because we all knew Canelo was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
And you got the right round.
I was one off, but I think I got 10, and he knocked him out in the 11th.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you said, but we were all pretty close. I was just one round off.
Yeah, you basically won overall.
Yeah.
Let's just say you won overall. And I've been meaning to make good on my bet, so I'm going to make it right here on the show.
Oh shit!
So
no way.
What I did, because I did take so long on it, I could give you just like one of my signature Schecter basses, and it'd be cool, right? So I went into the warehouse last week, and I picked up one that I think will be even more special. This, wait. What album did you say was your favorite Avenged Sevenfold one?
My favorite is Wake and Fall.
Wake and the Fallen. Okay, but what was the one we were talking about, and you were asking me like...
Okay, so the one that I first got into was the self-titled.
That's right. Right. Okay. Now, on that cycle, I was playing a Music Man. It was before I had my Schecter endorsement and made my Schecter customs. Now, this bass, I cleaned it up a little bit, but I left the original strings on, and as you can see here, there's knobs that are different colored.
Yeah.
Because this is the bass I played that entire cycle.
Oh my God.
It's my Gunslinger Music Man bass. Everyone can see that there. And the strings have not been changed. All I did was dust it off a little bit. I put some pack of strings here in the case for you in case you want to play it.
I'm not changing
you can keep it this way. This last time it was played, you probably look up which show it was the cycle for the self-titled record.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, this is sick.
So, I mean, it plays great still, you know?
Yeah.
I've had it worked on over the years from, you know, those knobs pop off when I throw my bass around on stage and shit. But yeah, it's a great piece. I loved the artwork that was on it.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking sick, dude.
So, if you want afterward or right here, I didn't know if you wanted to play it or display it. I could sign it for you, whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really any, I mean, I'll try. I mean, can you hear it?
Like, you can probably hear it a little bit. It's probably not tuned right now.
Yeah, it probably isn't, right?
Nah.
I mean,
like I said, it's been in storage.
This is hard.
It's been in storage since then. I have not played that bass since that time.
Man, this is completely different from a guitar. I don't know. I'm like,
Have you fucked around with bass much?
no, I haven't. This is so hard to press down. I don't know how you're doing this shit.
That's why you play one string at a time on the bass. You don't play chords pretty often.
Well, shit, I've seen you play Paradigm. You know where the I don't know how you do that shit. That's
there it is,
insane, man. Dude, thank you.
Appreciate your friendship, and I make good on my bets. Unlike some other people I know, I won't name any sinister gates. But yeah. So I wanted to make sure I got that to you this time and make good.
Thank
on
you,
my bet,
man. Hell yeah.
And again, thank you for this guitar too.
No problem, dude.
Frank is gonna love it, man, and fucking really cool getting to know you over the past few years, man. And, and then real quick, the other show you got, you came out twice on this last cycle.
What?
You came out to the Mansfield show, and then
I went to the Fort Worth one as well.
Fort Worth. Yeah. You brought a couple of your friends, your buddy that got you into Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, Harrison. Yeah, man, he's basically the reason why I'm here. You know, he got me into it. The story is, I listened to Backcountry, you know, before we talked about Avenged Sevenfold, and he's like, hey, listen to Critical Acclaim, man. You know, I was like, all right, cool, yeah, whatever. It took me like a month or two to get into it because I have a hard time listening to new music. And not that I didn't like it, because it literally took me 2 months to even search up the name. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm listening to it, the organs come in, like, this is pretty good. And then it just kicks your fucking ass. I was like, blew my mind, you know? And then I just got into that album from there. Then Nightmare. And then I got into the other ones. And then Hail to the King was actually the first time where y'all came out with the new album, and I listened to it that day. That was the first album I ever bought.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's the first album you ever bought?
I ever bought with my money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing, because I through doing this show, that's actually one of the questions I typically ask of other musicians I have on the show. Like, what was your first CD? Because, like, I remember mine, you know, you buy with your own money the first time you have it.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess in my day, it was more like you went down to the store to buy it. You know what I mean? It's like now you can just like digitally buy it.
Yeah.
Did you buy it digitally or?
I bought it digitally.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, same thing though. Like, it's still the idea is still true there. Like, for me, it was going down to the warehouse around the corner from my house. Mm-hmm. The warehouse was for those who don't know, it was kind of like a Blockbuster. They had VHS tapes that you could rent and, you know, in return, they also had a CD and tape and record section.
Yeah.
The first couple tapes that I bought, actually I remember it was on the same day I bought Pearl Jam 10 on tape cassette and Guns N' Roses, the Spaghetti Incident. Okay. I did not know it was a cover album at the time. I was just a big Guns N' Roses fan. I think I was like in 3rd grade.
Oh, shit.
And I was a huge Guns N' Roses fan from Appetite and Use Your Illusions 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it was just the next one that came out. So I was like, oh, I'm here for it. I didn't even listen to it. You know, I grabbed it. I still love that record for all of its warts and all, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but because it's just a cover record, just a cover record. They did a good job on those covers. But yeah, so that was it for me. And then CDs later,
That's cool,
I got
man.
No Effects, Liberal Animation, and Green Day Dookie were the next 2 that I got. So
oh, yeah?
I'm very honored that we were the first one that you ever bought. Man.
Hey, man, no problem. Hey, Coming Home was my all-time song. My all-time favorite song, not just from you guys, ever.
Oh,
Coming Home was just, I don't know, it's a different song. When I heard it the first time, man, I was just blown away. You know, especially Papa Gate solo at the end.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, I had a lot of fun making that record and playing that one. You've told me that was your favorite song before too, and I appreciate that, man. It was funny. On Twitter, we Drinks with Johnny Twitter. It's not my personal Twitter; it's for the show. But I'm often using it to talk about things like your fight and stuff. So I posted right after the fight on it's X now. Sorry everybody.
I forget to. Yeah, I can't say X.
I know it's been Twitter for so long. It's like now it's X. But okay, so I posted on X. And about you wearing the Avenged Sevenfold shirt.
Oh yeah.
In the interview leading up to the fight, right? They do the backstories for everyone where they're like, where Vergil, his training has come to this fight and everything. And you're wearing the Avenged shirt, and I posted, and someone's like, "Oh, he's got it. That's an old school shirt. He definitely didn't like lie bad."
Shit, that's completely far from the truth. Not even close.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. But you don't come out to 2 shows out on the new album cycle.
Yeah, come on, bro. Like, nah.
Clear in the air. He's a fan of Live Bad, all right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fucking A, man. Well, again, I just want to thank you for coming out here today and hanging with me. Many more years of this, man. I'm going to be an exciting year 2024 for you. We're going to be out and we're going to see you a couple more times. I can't wait. I want to go see a fight live. That's my goal. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to go see a Vergil Ortiz fight live in person. And we're going to make that happen, man. Yeah, absolutely. So what else you got coming up this year? I know you got, minimum, hopefully 3 to 4 fights. What else is on your agenda? Like you were mentioned, guitar playing, music. Is there something there that you're going to you have any goals for to step it up on there?
I'm sure you experience this too, man. I hit roadblocks like in my creativity. So I don't know if I'll ever do any music soon. It's hard. it's hard, It's satisfying yourself. Like, oh, this sounds good. Sometimes I'm like my own toughest critic. I'm like, nah, man, that sounds like shit. So I don't know. I'm just constantly writing stuff, and sometimes like I don't finish songs, and I'm doing different pieces, and sometimes I try to fit them together. No, it just doesn't work, or I don't know. It's just I'm sure you know this better than I do. It's definitely a process that I'm still trying to figure out. But hopefully one day. One day.
Absolutely. No, I can see it. I mean, you nailed it. You writing stuff. You're always your own worst critic. And then, like we were talking in the car, I was like, yeah, sometimes you write something that you really love, and you bring it to other people, and they're like, eh. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
You're all right, back to the drawing board. But it happens, man. You'll have a good music journey on that. I'll be here with you all the way, and with the boxing too, man. I fucking can't wait to see you get another strap around that.
Hey,
waist.
thank you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Cheers, brother. Everyone, thank you all for checking out this episode, as always. And hey, go check out more Vergil Ortiz. If you don't already, make sure you follow him everywhere. Make sure you're following this show. And thanks again, as always. Till next time. Cheers.